Trust me, I love boxing, but this is brutal. You know what? I looked at the bruiser, I looked at the shots. I was like gobsmacked. Bare knuckle fight's a different breed, man. It was James DeGale making his debut as a bare knuckle fighter. I personally was concerned. I just said, why is he doing this? I went to the AO Arena yesterday in Manchester to see some bare knuckle fighting. It was the BKFC event. I think it's run by Conor McGregor. Trust me, I love boxing. I love combat sports, but this is brutal. And I guess last week Joe Lister, he was on, and Joe, you know what? Good on him. He put on an amazing performance, especially in the first round against Sean Weir. Sean Weir was their favourite. Sean Weir was the hired gun. Came down from Scotland. This guy has got quite a reputation. They've got high hopes for him. Joe had him down in the first round, and I thought, wow, he was proper on it. But Sean was smart. He just like held up a bit. I think he said he got thumbed in the eye or something like that. The referee gave him time to breathe. You know, he took the momentum away from Joe. And Joe, within his inexperience, remember he's only had one fight. Again, it took away that heat, that power, that rush that he had on. Then the second round, Joey just was all over him. He absolutely smashed him. And you know what? I looked at the bruiser, I looked at the shots, and I thought, I was like gobsmacked. Now, I love boxing. I love contact sports, but bare knuckle fight's a different breed, man. But I've got to give it you, the crowd loved it. The crowd were on the feet constantly. And you know that when security are constantly telling everybody to sit down. And I mean every fight. I don't just mean one fight or a section of the fight. Yeah, there were one or two scuffles in the crowd. And you can always tell when people can't fight because they fight for 30 seconds and that's it. They're struggling. But that was it. That was at the AO Arena. Top of the bill, it was James DeGale. Now I was curious, because James was there, I saw the Smith brothers, I saw Tony Bellew come out with James. I was going to go in the dressing room, I thought, I don't want to jinx anybody, I just want to sit down and watch. I can't understand why James is doing this, because it's a completely different kettle of fish. It's not boxing. You know, the Queensberry rules are out the window. Bare knuckle was like the original, and then it transformed into boxing. I think James, to say the heights he reached as a professional boxer, making his debut as a bare knuckle fighter, I personally was concerned. I just said, why is he doing this? You know, maybe he's just got fighting in his blood. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to get stuck in all the time. I just wouldn't do it because he got cut in the eye, he got bruised all over the face. It was worrying, and I just thought, why? James won on points, and I'm quite sure in the rules of Queensberry rules, he'd have done a demolition job. But it's a different world. Bare knuckle fighting, a completely different world. So yeah, James won. Concerned, yeah. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. Would I do it myself? Hell no. And then Nav Mansouri, another former boxer, professional boxer. Nav went out. He looked the part. He was on point. Came out first round, looked solid, but he had that solid, orthodox stance about him. And his opponent, he knew the score. He was relaxed. He was on point. He was as though there was nothing about him. Proper little pretty boy he was. He knocked Nav out clean in the second round. I mean, my man fell on the back of his feet. That's what I'm talking about. I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors, BetGoodwin, for supporting that boxing show. Now, if you're interested in having a little flutter, or as I call it after my dad, Benji's Bets, BetGoodwin's the place to be. They're all about looking after their customers with the best bet odds and guaranteed great customer service. Check out BetGoodwin using the QR on the screen. It's strictly for over 18s and always gamble responsibly. For advice and support, visit begambleaware.org. If you ever happen to go to one of these events, the one thing it gives you the excitement, it gives you the adulation, it gives you the all the things you want when you go to one of these things, but it's so direct, it's brutal. Apparently, it's less damaging than boxing. God knows how. It's just a bare knuckle that you're getting hit with, and the bruises, the bumps and bruises are mad. So that was my night down at the AO Arena. I wanted to go down to the GBM event last night in Sheffield because, of course, Taz Nadeem was fighting. Always my favourite young fighter. Again, got a knockout. This guy's a complete animal. Got the job done. In the rules of Queensberry, boxing, of course. Shaquille Thompson got a beautiful body shot finish as well. I gather the show was pretty well. And so for Sheffield at the Cannon Medical Centre, it was a full house. It was a really good night, it was. So that was this weekend that's gone. So what we got to look forward to? Of course, last week we touched on all the fallout from the Chris Eubank Jr. and Eddie Hearn and Robert Smith and the things that Chris said. Chris doesn't care. He just don't care. Chris just says what he wants and he doesn't care who he upsets. And as far as he's concerned, what are you going to do about it? You want me to fight more than I want to fight. I'll fight. I'll get the job done. But you want me more than I want you. And he ruffles some feathers. I don't know what Robert Smith will respond to or how he will deal with it moving forward. And I don't know what Eddie will do either. I don't know if I saw somewhere that Chris said he had some kind of legal letters. Don't quote me on that. And Chris, he's just very calm, very matter of fact. And so the story wasn't about Chris and Connor. The story is about Chris and Robert Smith. The story is about Chris and Eddie Hearn. And Chris again stuck to his guns and said, "No, this is our show. It's not your show." I do think, if I'm honest with you, I do think one of his claims were probably. You've got to look at it from his point of view. From his point of view, if he's in the ambulance, he's thinking it's got to be someone else's fault. I really don't believe the ambulance was purposely delayed. I've tried to get out of that arena. It's a nightmare to get out of. You can be sat in traffic for an hour and a half. So maybe they should have a helicopter or something like that at hand to avoid that kind of traffic, but it's a complete nightmare to get out of those situations. Chris, I think, in his approach, in his attitude, he said what he wants and he's willing to pay the price because he knows we, the public, want to see the fight again. He knows the TV want it. He knows the border control will get their cut. He knows Eddie wants it. So he's playing the game and so he's not bothered. So we'll see how it rolls out. We'll see what else happens as the weeks roll on, as we get closer to the fight. It'll be exciting to see. Anyway, this week's show, we've got Liam Cameron. He's such a nice guy, Liam. He's such a down-to-earth guy. Thursday, 3 o'clock, our next show comes out, that boxing show with me, Johnny Nelson. Liam Cameron, he's a cool cookie. He's a very matter-of-fact. He's turned into a bit of a star in Sheffield, at least. And I think he's got comfortable with being uncomfortable. He doesn't like being put in the spotlight, but it's just a nice, easy conversation. And so check us out, 3 o'clock Thursday on YouTube. We're there, we're in. Get involved, like and subscribe. Come on, enjoy the ride. My condolences are to Joe Lister. He lost, absolutely gutted. I'm going to speak to Joe later on today. Just to see how he is. Bumps and bruises were ridiculous. Nav, I'll speak to Nav. And James DeGale, I need to speak to you too. It was an interesting watch, an exciting watch, but an uncomfortable watch.